All right, guys, so we got a new Sonic Frontiers prologue, part 1, and we have a brand new Play Magazine interview with Takashi Iizuka that reveals not the most, but some interesting stuff. So let's not waste your time, guys. Let's get right into that, and make sure to watch the entire video because we got a lot to say. So, guys, it's true. We got the Sonic Frontiers prologue called Convergence. This is part 1 of 2 comics, and I gotta say, I really like it because at first, they were just going overboard with the SA1 references. You guys look right here. Sonic and Tails are flying to this island. I guess they're looking for Amy, and Amy's fighting against Eggman, which is really cool because I like how Amy and Tails are actually involved in the combat. And obviously the writing's a little bit better because Ian Flynn is the writer of the IDW comics and he's going to be writing Sonic Frontiers. But one interesting thing, guys, is Eggman keeps saying SA1 lines. He says, get a load of this. And then if you go to the next part, he says, no way, I can't believe this. And it looks like Eggman's in there, but we never actually see him. Sonic obviously pulls up. He's like, yo, we're about to beat Eggman's ass. Let's go. And then once again, he says all systems full power. So everyone's like, all right, why does he keep saying the adventure lines? Like, why does he keep saying the SA1 lines? Well, it actually gets pretty interesting, guys. Once again, we see Tails involved in the action, which is one thing that I really like. Like, once again, we're gonna see Tails actually be cool again. Last time he was in a game, he was in Sonic Forces, and he was very pathetic. He was scared. He had to wait for Classic Sonic to do something, even though Classic Sonic's the GOAT. But, once again, we have a no way, I can't believe this. But here's the plot twist, guys. Here's why all this SA1 pandering actually makes sense, and it's not just random. Sonic says, hold up, I've heard all this mad ranting before. Then you go to the next page of the comic. Once again, Tails and Amy are being cool again. We love to see it. They defeat Eggman. Sonic goes up, and then there's a plot twist. He says, wait, that's not Eggman. So that's what I like about the new comic, guys. I think the new comic is actually really interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like the comic. I just wish it was a little bit longer, but we'll probably have to wait till next week. I'm assuming next week we'll get part 2 of the comic. The week after, we'll probably get the Knuckles prologue because, like, when is that coming? I want to know why Knuckles is on the island. Overall, the comic's good, and they're kind of giving, like, minor backstory. Like, it's not too much. Like, if you don't read the comic, you're not gonna miss out context of the game, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna be patiently waiting for part 2 to come out, and then we can kind of give our full thoughts and kind of see what's going on. But I gotta say, I'm intrigued, you know what I mean? After reading that comic and getting the little plot twist at the end, I'm like, all right, I just want to see more. I need to see more of this plot. My initial thought process is like, is Sage up to this? Are the islands and worlds finally converging? Like, what did Sonic see that was so, like, astonishing? Maybe Eggman was behind it. Maybe he had, like, a fake robot as a distraction for him to go find the Starfall Islands technology. Or is it too late and the worlds are already colliding? Like, I don't know, guys, but I do want to see more. We know that this is probably going to be the best plot in a Sonic game, maybe ever. Probably not better than SA2 in my opinion, but I think it's still going to be really good. So yes, guys, very excited for the Sonic Frontiers prologue. But now let's get into the new information because there's actually an interview with Takashi Iizuka that we got to get into real quick. So let's get right into that. So the interview goes into a lot of development details. And speaking of development details and game development, this is a perfect time to introduce today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University. Today's video is brought to you by Southern New Hampshire University. Have you ever thought about creating your own video game? You guys know that I work on Sonic fan projects here and here. My perfect game would honestly be something like a Sonic Adventure 3 with real physics, real momentum, and a super complex level design that would work in next gen. But what if you had the knowledge and experience to make your game a reality and turn it into an actual career with opportunities and growth? If that sounds exciting, then let me tell you about Southern New Hampshire University, who is the sponsor of this video. SNHU has one of the largest accredited nonprofit online degree offerings in the country. They feature over 200 degree programs focused on getting you started in or advancing a career that you'll love. In this program, you'll learn how to create realistic, dynamic game experiences with game AI, game physics, 2D and 3D graphics, and interface design. 2D and 3D sounds like the perfect Sonic game to me. You'll learn computer programming languages like C++, C#, and Java, and you'll learn 3D modeling and texturing with game art software, which is super important. Courses are taught by industry experts who will teach you how to research, develop, contribute to advances and trends within the field of game programming. All of SNHU's programs are extremely flexible. There are no set class times, allowing you to work when and where you want. So if you're ready to switch to a career that you'll love, SNHU's game development program can help. Make sure to use my link right here, or you can find it in the description to start your journey to a career that you'll love today. But yes, guys, see right here, this is from Play Magazine. They sat down and chatted with Iizuka. You know what they talked about. They talked about the history of Sonic, the transition to 2D to 3D, but there's really, like I said, some interesting stuff that they talk about. It's not up yet, guys, so we can't show it on the screen, but we can talk about it. So we got this new interview from Play Magazine, right? And I think it got taken down. Tails channel originally posted all this, but a lot of the information was taken down, so we're going to talk about some of it. I'm not going to try to show too much, but they talk about a lot of interesting information. In particular, like, not necessarily about Frontiers itself. There's a couple cool quips in there, but they talk about spin-offs and they talk about the influence of Frontiers. So let's get right into it. So this is from Sonic Frontier on Twitter. Obviously, this is like one of the best news accounts. I don't know how this guy does it. He's so good at what he does. Here's one paragraph that talks about Sage and Knuckles, and it kind of really gives you an interesting backdrop on like what the plot's going to be. So it says, discovering that they have been captured and absorbed into cyberspace, becoming digital ghosts, even Knuckles mysteriously turns ends up in a similar situation. So who else from the Bluebirds universe can we expect? And is new diminutive girl Sage a threat or a potential ally, even though she clearly wants Sonic off the island, at one point summoning a colossal machine to chase us? Naturally, Iizuka is tight-lipped on what fans will discover. I think for fans, there's going to be an oh my gosh moment as they play through the entire game. We can't really talk much more. We like the mystery, and we'd like the fans to play through it and think about some of the things that will happen. They also talked about their influences for this game, which I thought was very cool as well. Iizuka said the primary influences for this game are going to be Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Adventure 1, the best Sonic game of literally all time, and interestingly enough, Sonic Jam. It kind of does make sense, I guess, like with the hub worlds, I guess there is some influence there. But I gotta say, I think Adventure 1, I totally see it, and then Unleashed as well. I think just like in scope of ambition and size, you kind of like to compare it to Unleashed, especially because Unleashed had a cool story. Unleashed had like the boost formula, obviously. It's gonna have Sonic boosting level, so I guess you could say that there's some influence from Unleashed. And Unleashed did have a hub world too with like collectibles and medals and stuff like that, so I can kind of see that being the thing. And obviously the elephant in the room is combat. This game is going to be very combat focused. There's going to be tons of combos for Sonic, so obviously that comes from Unleashed as well. But I really thought that that part was very interesting, and I love the fact that they compared it to SA1, because I thought the same thing. Like, that's the vibes I'm getting from this game. I'm getting a lot of SA1. SA1 and Unleashed are probably two of the most ambitious 3D Sonic titles. You could probably throw 06 in there, but like I said, that game's probably influenced by SA1 as well. So I'd love to hear that. And then there's one last thing, guys, that we have to talk about from this interview that I thought was interesting. Like, the rest of it's like, okay, like we're talking about the open zone, and Sonic was linear in 2D, and now we want to go into 3D, and we're, you know, they talk about the transition to 3D, but let's talk about what actually matters from this. So the last thing that Iizuka talks about is Sonic spin-offs, which is something I think is very important. Not gonna put it on the screen, but he says Frontier's open zone structure could be Sonic's future, in which case we'll have to wait a long time in between releases. The last mainline title, Sonic Forces, was released 5 years ago. Iizuka is conscious of not wanting fans to just sit around. I totally agree with that. He says, as we have one team working on something really big, we do want to make sure we're working with other teams and other third parties to continue making content. While he doesn't hint as to what these could be, the article does say, might another Sonic racing game or even Sonic Mania 2 be on the horizon? Obviously, they have like Sonic Speed Simulator, which, you know, a lot of you guys know I cover that game. They got Sonic Forces Speed Battle, and they're apparently a new mobile games in development, so that might be what they mean. I would really hope to like bring Sonic back to that like spin-off title stuff. Back in the early 2000s, like there was a new Sonic game, probably like 3 Sonic games a year. If you think about it, in like a 6 or 7 year span, we got SA1, Sonic Advance 1, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Battle. Like, we had so many different games that were pretty much like of mainline quality. Even if you consider Shadow the Hedgehog, I kind of consider that like mainline quality game, even though it's obviously not the best game, you know what I mean? But I do consider a game like that of mainline quality. It's harder to develop AAA games in this current day and age as opposed to when it was on like the GameCube and PS2. But I would really like them to pump out more Sonic content. We got Sonic Prime coming, Sonic Movie 3, the Knuckles show. Obviously, Sonic is back, right? Like, this character is like on top of the world. You would love to see them bring back Sonic in that capacity. Like, hopefully there will be more spin-offs. But let me know what you guys think about all this information. I got nothing else to say to you guys. Like I said, drop your opinions down below in the comments. Let me know if you guys want me to cover more Sonic mainline series stuff, because I really want to get back into that. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.